How do you want to feel around food and meal times? Are you fed up of feeling anxious and afraid and always wondering if the thing you're going to eat is going to send you running to the bathroom or have you cancelling your plans? Now, the fear of food is such a huge area that I help clients with, and so I thought it was about time I made a video about it. Now, if you haven't yet watched the video I made on exposing the IBS diet myth, then make sure you watch that, because I talk about the issues with restricting different foods, and there is also a fear of food questionnaire to see where you fit on the scale. Now, when it comes to the actual food you're eating flaring up your symptoms, it's estimated that only 1 in 4 people's IBS actually gets worse by the things in their diet. That leaves 75% of people whose IBS symptoms get triggered by the anxiety, fear, and the worry around food. And that's because anxiety and worry can have a huge impact on your digestive system. And just thinking about a specific food can send your stomach rounding and leave you doubled over in pain. So if you fit into this category and you are currently assuming and predicting the worst case scenario, you are engaged in a type of thinking which is called catastrophizing. And when you catastrophize, your mind is reacting to potential dangers of an event before it's occurred, even if it will never occur. And then as your brain ruminates on these worries, the physical side of stress begins to activate. Your heart races, your blood pressure starts to rise, and your gut starts to experience symptoms. So what began as a non-existent scenario in your mind now has a very physical reaction to it. And it's for this reason that catastrophizing has found to be such a big factor in exasperating symptoms associated with IBS. And usually this physical reaction happens when we are eating or we're drinking something that we're anxious about. And so we reconfirm to ourselves that it's not safe to eat those things, and we become even more anxious and worried around that food. And then the cycle repeats. So what's the first step in breaking this pattern? The first step is shining a light, going on what's up in here. I want you to get really curious about your relationship with food. What thoughts, stories, beliefs, predictions do you have around meal times and around specific foods or food overall? What is that chatty part of your mind saying to you? And to help you complete this task, I'm going to walk you through what I call the 3 stages of eating, and I've created a worksheet resource for you to download, which you can find linked in the description. So the first stage of eating is before. This is before you've even taken a bite of something. It can just be thinking about food and thinking about what you might eat. So what thoughts and beliefs do you have here? Common thoughts include, it's not fair, I'll never be able to eat like a normal person, or what if I eat that and set my symptoms off? Stage number 2 is during. This is when you're actually eating the food. Thoughts here include, I'm going to pay for this later, or I shouldn't be eating this. And finally, stage 3 is after. Now, for some people, this is often the most anxiety-provoking time because now you're on hyper alert and you're watching for even the slightest sensation. So not only are you more focused in on your digestive system, your mind is now telling you, oh, what's that? Or I knew I shouldn't have eaten that. Or this is going to end badly. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever had these thoughts and what other thoughts you've noticed. I can assure you, you are not alone in this. So to give yourself the very best chance of digesting your food in a calm, easy and controlled way, we need to change the relationship with the thoughts that you've identified. And one way to do this is using something called cognitive diffusion, which is the act of looking at these thoughts rather than getting caught up in them and then spiraling into anxiety and an IBS flare-up. Now, when you fuse with your thoughts, you tend to over-identify with them. You amplify them in your mind and you take them to be facts. You take them to be your truth. Perhaps you can relate to this. And when we make those thoughts our truth, it becomes very easy for those thoughts to become over-controlling and feel as if they are running the show. However, when you defuse from your thoughts, you learn to see a thought as just that, a thought. In fact, a thought is just one of about 60,000 thoughts that you will have in any single day. So you can learn that you can let thoughts pass and drift away because thoughts aren't real. thoughts are merely a product of your mind. And your mind will always continue to pop out thoughts because that's what minds do. But your relationship to those thoughts can be different. And so with cognitive diffusion, the aim is threefold. Firstly, to look at your thoughts rather than running away from them or pushing them away. Secondly, to notice your thoughts rather than getting caught up or buying into them, treating those thoughts as your truth, as facts. And number three is to let your thoughts come and go rather than holding tightly onto them. So let's explore a common diffusion technique called distancing yourself from worry thoughts. And there are three approaches that you can use. The first approach is to thank your mind for those thoughts. So a thought comes in, I shouldn't be eating this. And you can say, thank you mind for that worry thought. And then another thought comes in, there's nothing I can eat on this menu. And you can say, thank you mind for the thought that there's nothing I can eat on this menu. This approach of thanking your mind acknowledges that your mind is trying to protect you, but it also helps you to not get so involved in that thought. You don't have to understand or explore the thought. You can just thank your mind and let that thought go. Now, the second approach is called repeat the thought. This is where you simply repeat the thought over and over and over, sometimes even up to 60 or 70 times. Because as you repeat that thought more and more, that thought starts to lose its meaning. This technique is called Titchener's repetition after Edward Titchener, who discovered that words get stripped of the meaning if they're repeated enough. And the last approach to distancing from worry is to objectify the thought. So when you become aware of those anxious thoughts, you can imagine those thoughts to have a colour and to have a shape, a texture, a size. So for example, you can imagine a worry thought about you having an accident as being green, and it can be as big and round as a soccer ball. And then you can just imagine kicking that ball away. Or you might ask yourself, how old is that thought? How many years have gone by since that first started popping up in my mind? And then you can imagine that thought as an old man with a cane limping around a corner and out of sight. So I want you to try and use one or all of these techniques the next time you notice food anxiety around your IBS symptoms. Make a note of how you feel before and after practicing these techniques. They might feel a little strange at first, but eventually you'll start to step back and observe those negative and unhelpful thoughts more and more, rather than immediately believing them and getting caught up in them. One thing I'm always saying to my clients is learning how to become the master of your mind instead of your mind being the master of you. And practicing cognitive diffusion is a great way to do this. As always, thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful, then don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.